Detective Renée Ballard leads a severely underfunded LAPD cold case unit, tackling a massive caseload of old homicides. Her team is largely composed of a diverse motley crew of volunteers and reserve officers. They just solved their first cold case with an arrest after a perp chase. The team's next case is perplexing. An unknown man, also known as a John Doe, was found dead in the woods. CCTV footage shows him carrying a baby near a bus stop before he died. The baby was never found. Ballard successfully tracks down the original investigating officer, former cop Samira Parker, who now works in nightclub security. Samira reveals her investigation was deliberately stifled. She recalls how there was an altercation with the victim at the Sunbeam Lodge, a low-cost lodging house. But 911 calls related to the incident were erased from official records. Samira is reluctant to re-enter police work due to past frustrations, but agrees to help for at least a day, and then she stays. Ballard receives a visit from LA City Council member Jake Pearlman and senior officer Nelson Hastings. They pressure her to prioritize and quickly solve the 2001 cold case rape and murder of Pearlman's sister, Sarah, who was only 16 years old at the time. The initial investigation into her 2001 murder yielded no evidence against the prime suspect, her ex-boyfriend, Brian Richmond. An emotional Jake Pearlman wants her ex-boyfriend in jail. Ballard is warned that she could get fired if she doesn't solve this high-profile case. Yet her requests for additional funding are denied, leaving her between a rock and a hard place. Renée Ballard lives in Malibu with her grandmother Tutu. To relax, she likes to float on her surfboard in the sea. There, she's friends with a lifeguard, whom she hesitates to become closer with. She grapples with past traumas from the early death of her dad and sexual harassment by a colleague at the police, Robert Olivas. Her other colleagues turned against her when she accused Olivas, and she was even dismissed from the Robbery-Homicide Division. Now she regularly visits a psychologist. Her partner and friend at that time, Ken Chastain, keeps calling her. He feels very guilty for not helping her, and drinks too much, but is still not helping her. But he's very annoyingly seeking her forgiveness. Ballard is assigned a new cold case by Captain Burcham, the years-old death of Nick, who fell from his fraternity house balcony. The LAPD wants to contain social media outcry from Nick's sister, who claims police inaction. Ballard and LaFont investigate at the fraternity's reunion, where a former brother reveals a secret body count book filled with photos of young women and their quality ratings. While some interviewed women dismiss it as a product of a different era, Nick's former girlfriend, Meredith, reveals her deep trauma when interviewed by Ballard and Parker. Piecing together torn pages and a witness statement, Ballard confronts Meredith, highlighting how women often carry the burden of men's unaccountable actions. Meredith confesses she pushed Nick off the balcony in a fit of rage and sorrow over what he wrote about her in the book. This case closure feels far from a victory for Ballard. Ballard's investigation into Sarah Pearlman's cold case takes a significant turn when she discovers a palm print on the crime scene window from which DNA is extracted. This DNA provides a crucial cold hit, matching evidence from an earlier, unsolved murder, that of Laura Wilson. This connection immediately points to the terrifying possibility of a serial predator who has been active for years. As Ballard reviews Laura Wilson's case files, she discovers that the original investigating officer was none other than Harry Bosch. They try to match the DNA to the prime suspect, her ex-boyfriend Brian Richmond, but then discover that he was in Iraq at the time of Laura's death. This makes him innocent of the two murders. A Ukrainian maid at the Sunbeam Lodge is murdered, and her death appears connected to the John Doe case. A gun found at the scene matches the bullet in the maid's body. They want to compare this gun to the bullet that killed John Doe, but this bullet is missing, even though Samira distinctly remembers registering it. This disappearance raises once again suspicions of a cover-up. They go talk to the retired policeman whose name is on the dispo order for the bullet, but he's hostile and non-cooperative. And later it turns out someone forged his signature on the dispo order. Following leads among the homeless population, detectives apprehend Yulia's killer, a mentally ill drug addict who claims he was paid by an unknown man. Branded an outsider, Ballard is picking from a stack of applicants that she calls mainly weirdos and wannabe podcasters. But she managed to form a very functional LAPD Open-Unsolved unit that she can trust. LaFond, her trusty first partner back in Robbery-Homicide Department, is here. He's retired with a very caring husband, but happy to help out. Samira Parker left Robbery-Homicide Department due to harassment, but Ballard now convinced her to join he as her right hand, Colleen Hatteras, a true crime enthusiast, and believes her intuition and spiritual beliefs are a valuable tool. Ted Rawls is a reserve LAPD officer with a somewhat negative attitude. He wears a gun belt with extra mags, but complains about going into the field. Additionally, Harry Bosch is a retired detective who aids Ballard in her investigations. And then there's Martina Castro, a brainy intern studying law. She's being followed by a suspicious young Latino LAPD officer. He makes ominous phone calls, in which he says that he will harm her and will have fun with her, and that there will be no repercussions.